Something extraordinary is happening in Los Angeles right now, and most fans haven't even noticed it yet. While everyone's been debating trade deadline moves and rotation adjustments, the Lakers organization has been playing chess while others play checkers. There's a calculated patience happening behind the scenes that tells me management knows something big is coming. Welcome to Lakers News Fan Report, your trusted source for the latest updates, breaking news, and insider analysis on our beloved purple and gold. Here, you'll always get the real story, the complete picture, straight from someone who bleeds Lakers just like you do. And trust me, what I'm about to share with you today might just be the most important development of this entire season. Let's start with something that's been puzzling a lot of people lately. The trade deadline came and went, and the Lakers made some moves. Sure, but nothing earth-shattering. Nothing that screamed championship desperation, and that's been driving some fans crazy. I've seen the comments, I've read the frustration. Why aren't we going Ellen? Why are we holding on to future picks when LeBron's window is closing? Why aren't we making that blockbuster move right now? These are legitimate questions, and I understand where they're coming from, but here's the thing. The Lakers aren't being passive, they're being strategic, and there's a massive difference. Rob Pelinka and the Lakers management team have been studying the landscape carefully. They've been watching how other franchises mortgage their futures, how they give up everything for short-term gains, and how often those gambles backfire spectacularly. We've seen it happen over and over again in this league. Teams trade away their entire future for one shot, and when it doesn't work out, they're left rebuilding for the next decade. The Lakers don't want to be that team. They want to be smart. They want to be ready for the right opportunity, not just any opportunity. Right now, the Lakers can only trade their 2031 first-round pick. That's it. That's their only tradable future asset at this moment. And let's be real, a pick 7 years away doesn't exactly move the needle in negotiations for a superstar player. It's a nice sweetener, sure, but it's not the kind of package that convinces another team to give up a franchise cornerstone. So the Lakers have been patient, knowing that their situation is about to change dramatically. Once we hit the offseason, everything shifts. The moment summer arrives, the Lakers will suddenly be able to trade their 2026 first-round pick. That's a completely different conversation. That's a near-future asset that actually has significant value in trade negotiations. That's the kind of chip that can be the centerpiece of a serious offer, and the Lakers know it. They're counting down the days until they have that flexibility, until they can put together a package that actually makes sense for all parties involved. But there's another element to this strategy that's even more important than draft picks. And that element is currently averaging career-high numbers and playing at an all-star level. I'm talking about Austin Reaves. This kid has taken a leap this season that honestly exceeds even the most optimistic projections. We all knew he was talented, we all knew he had potential, but what he's doing right now is borderline elite. 27.8 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, 6.7 assists. These aren't just good numbers. These are all-star numbers. These are numbers that put him in conversations with the best guards in the Western Conference. And it's not just about the statistics. Anyone who watches these games can see how much Reaves has evolved as a player. His decision-making is sharper, his confidence is through the roof, his ability to create his own shot has reached another level entirely. He's not just a complementary piece anymore. He's a legitimate go-to scorer, someone you can trust with the ball in crunch time, someone who can carry the offensive load when needed. The transformation has been remarkable to witness. What makes Reaves even more valuable is the chemistry he's developed with Luka Doncic. And I know some people are still getting used to seeing Luka in a Lakers uniform, but man, the fit has been incredible. These two have a natural rapport on the court that you can't teach. They understand each other's timing, they know where the other one's going to be, they elevate each other's games. Off the court, they've become genuine friends, which only strengthens that on-court connection. The Lakers organization sees this partnership as foundational. They see it as something they can build around for years, not just for this season. This is where things get interesting from a strategic standpoint. Any major trade acquisition right now, any serious pursuit of a superstar player, would almost certainly require the Lakers to include Austin Reaves in the deal. That's just the reality of the situation. When you're trying to acquire an elite talent, you have to give up elite talent in return. And right now, Reaves is the Lakers' most attractive young asset. He's on a team-friendly contract. He's producing at a high level. He's only 27 years old, and he fits perfectly in any system. From another team's perspective, he's exactly the kind of player you'd want as the centerpiece of a trade package. But here's the thing, the Lakers absolutely do not want to trade Austin Reaves right now. Not for just anyone. Not unless it's for someone truly transformative. Someone who represents a clear and obvious upgrade that makes them instant championship favorites. Management has drawn a line in the sand on this one. They're not going to panic and flip Reaves for a lateral move or even a modest upgrade. They believe in what they have with him, they believe in his trajectory. and they're committed to seeing where this can go. So the Lakers find themselves in an interesting position. They want to add another star. They know they need more firepower to truly compete for a championship, but they're not willing to gut their core to do it, especially not by trading away a player who's just entering his prime and could be part of the solution for the next decade. This creates a delicate balancing act. How do you acquire a superstar without giving up your rising star? How do you upgrade the roster without sacrificing your future? The answer is patience and timing. The Lakers are waiting for a very specific scenario to unfold. They're waiting for a situation where they can construct an offer built around future draft picks, expiring contracts, role players, and financial flexibility rather than having to include their untouchable core pieces. And here's where the offseason becomes crucial. When summer hits, several things happen simultaneously that work in the Lakers' favor. First, LeBron James becomes a free agent. Now, I'm not suggesting for a second that LeBron is leaving, but his contract coming off the books creates massive financial flexibility for the organization. Rui Hachimura is also hitting free agency, along with several other rotation players. Suddenly, the Lakers have the ability to restructure their entire salary situation. They have the cap space to absorb a massive contract. They have expiring deals to use as matching salary in trades. They have the kind of roster flexibility that simply doesn't exist right now in the middle of the season. Second, as I mentioned earlier, that 2026 first-round pick becomes tradable. Combined with the 2031 pick they can already move, that's to future first-rounders they can put on the table. That's not a bad starting point for trade negotiations, especially when you add in the cap flexibility and the role players who could be included to make the money work. Third, and this might be the most important factor, the Lakers are planning to extend Austin Reaves this offseason. We're talking about a significant extension, something in the range of $40 to $45 million annually. And if Reaves makes an All-NBA team, which is absolutely within reach based on how he's playing, that number could climb even higher. But here's the key point. Even with that massive commitment to Reaves, even with that money locked in, the Lakers will still have more flexibility than they do right now because of how the rest of the roster shakes out with the free agency situation. So the Lakers are building toward a summer where they'll have maximum flexibility, maximum assets, and maximum opportunity. They'll be in position to make a serious run at a superstar player without having to sacrifice the core they're building around Reaves and Doncic. It's a calculated gamble, sure, but it's one that makes a lot of sense when you look at the complete picture. Now, you might be wondering, okay, this is all well and good, but what superstar are we even talking about here? What player is worth this kind of strategic patience? What name justifies this entire approach? Well, let me tell you. The name at the very top of the Lakers' wish list, the player that's driving all of this calculated decision-making, the superstar that the organization is positioning itself to pursue aggressively when the time is right, is none other than Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yes, you heard that correctly. The Greek freak, the two-time MVP, the champion, one of the most dominant players in the entire NBA. The Lakers are keeping their powder dry specifically because they believe there's a legitimate chance to bring Giannis to Los Angeles. And before you dismiss this as fantasy or wishful thinking, let me explain why this is much more realistic than most people understand. Giannis's situation in Milwaukee has changed dramatically over the past few months. His future with the Bucks, which once seemed absolutely secure, is suddenly far less certain. The signs have been there for anyone paying attention. First, there was the social media cleanse. Giannis wiped his accounts clean of Bucks-related content, which immediately sent shockwaves throughout the league. Now, some people tried to downplay this as meaningless, just a social media thing, nothing to read into. But anyone who understands how these situations unfold knows that players don't make moves like that casually. It's a message. It's a statement. It's a way of signaling that things aren't as solid as everyone assumes. Then there are the reports that Giannis and his representation have begun serious discussions with Milwaukee's management about his long-term direction. These aren't casual conversations. These are substantive talks about the future, about the Bucks' plans, about whether they can realistically contend for championships in his remaining prime years. And from everything I'm hearing, those conversations haven't been entirely reassuring for Milwaukee. Giannis wants to win. He wants to compete for titles, and he's not sure the Bucks' current trajectory gets him there. Now, let's be clear about something. The Lakers aren't the only team positioning themselves for a potential Giannis opportunity. The Knicks are widely considered the frontrunners right now because of their draft capital and young assets. They've got the kind of package that could theoretically tempt Milwaukee if Giannis forces a trade. The Spurs are lurking with Victor Wembanyama as the ultimate recruiting tool. The Heat, with Pat Riley's track record of landing superstars, are always dangerous in these situations. The competition will be fierce, but the Lakers have advantages that shouldn't be underestimated. They have Los Angeles, they have the Lakers' legacy, they have the championship pedigree. They have the market, the exposure, the history, and perhaps most importantly, they have Luka Doncic. Multiple reports have indicated that Luka has already been advocating internally for the Lakers to pursue Giannis. He's been pushing for it, he wants to play with him, and that matters. When you have a player of Luka's caliber actively recruiting, it carries real weight. Imagine for a second what a Luka-Giannis Reaves core would look like. Think about the offensive firepower. Think about the defensive versatility. Think about the matchup nightmares they'd create for opposing teams. Luka orchestrating the offense, Giannis dominating the paint and finishing lobs, Reaves spacing the floor and creating off the dribble. That's a championship-level foundation. That's a team that could compete with anyone in the league for the next 5 years. The challenge, of course, is actually making it happen, even with all their off-season flexibility. Putting together a package for Giannis without including Reaves or Doncic would require creativity and luck. It would probably mean sending out multiple first-round picks, taking on salary, and including every tradable asset that isn't nailed down. But it's theoretically possible. There's a path, and that's what matters. The Lakers are making sure they have every possible option available when and if Giannis becomes available. There's also the timing question. Does Giannis become available this summer, next season, 2 years from now? Nobody knows for certain. The situation in Milwaukee could stabilize. They could make moves that convince him to stay long-term, or things could deteriorate quickly and he could push for a trade sooner than anyone expects. The Lakers can't control that timeline. All they can do is position themselves to be ready whenever the opportunity presents itself. And that's exactly what they're doing. By protecting their draft picks, by preserving their core, by creating maximum off-season flexibility, they're ensuring that when a franchise-altering opportunity emerges, whether it's Giannis or potentially someone else, they'll be in position to strike. They're not going to be the team that mortgaged everything for a mediocre upgrade and then missed out on the real prize. They're playing the long game, and I think it's the right strategy. Some fans will disagree with this approach. Some people want immediate action, immediate gratification, immediate moves that show the organization is trying to win right now. I get that perspective. But I also trust that management understands the landscape better than we do. They have information we don't have. They're hearing things through back channels. They know where things stand with Giannis better than any of us. And if they're this committed to positioning themselves for a potential pursuit, that tells me there's something real there. Now, before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. Do you think the Lakers should go all in on trying to land Giannis? Would you be willing to wait through this offseason and potentially beyond to see if this materializes? Or do you think they should be more aggressive right now with the assets they have? Do you believe Giannis will actually leave Milwaukee, or is this all just speculation? And here's the big one. If it came down to it, would you trade Austin Reaves for Giannis straight up? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one, and I want to know how you're feeling about this strategy. Look, at the end of the day, what we're witnessing is a franchise making calculated decisions with championship aspirations in mind. The Lakers aren't settling. They're not panicking. They're positioning themselves for something potentially historic, whether it ultimately works out or not. Whether Giannis ends up in purple and gold or somewhere else entirely, I respect the approach, I respect the patience, and I'm excited to see how this plays out over the coming months. If you want to stay on top of every development in this story, every bit of breaking news, every insider update as this situation evolves, you need to subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell right now. Lakers News Fan Report brings you the analysis you won't find anywhere else. The perspective of a true fan who understands what this franchise means. And if you think Giannis in a Lakers jersey would be incredible, smash that like button and let me know you're ready for this possibility. I'll see you in the next video with more updates. Lakers Nation, let's keep believing.